Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this two-day game jam. My name is Rikke Toft Nørgaard. I'm an associate professor at Aarhus University. And me and Claus Toft are gonna give you a very short kind of Ignite talk in the beginning, just letting you know a bit about this gaming at the edge stuff, because that is what the game jam is gonna be about. So you don't have like freedom to do whatever you like. You have freedom to do something that is on the edge. First of all, what is it to be at the edge or on the edge? Like, what kind of thinking can we put into the game jam here? One way is to think in kind of a Star Trek fashion, like create a game that boldly go where no game has gone before. So that's an easy task. That's all we ask of you, is to make a game that takes the player somewhere where the player has never been before. Right, so that's easy. So how could that look? Well, it can be games that works with kind of what we could call productive resistance, like annoying games, a game that's really annoying, a game that has some friction, like does something that you're not supposed to do, has some tension, is about something that is like inappropriate or really boring or really strange, or you know, if you make a game that's like a butterfly, like what's that even, you know, or just a caterpillar, or maybe it's just a game that's a dot on the floor. I don't know. It can also be games that kind of thinks about being transformative, so games that kind of change something, change the whole situation. You are allowed to kind of work with the space as well, so it can be a game where you have to, I don't know what you're allowed to do, but you could go into the public library and you can kind of make buttons hidden around the library, and you have to play a game you cannot see, and then you have to shout, no, no, to the left, or something, I don't know. It can also be transgression. Again, the library people are not here, so games that kind of breaks the rules a little bit about what you're supposed to do in this space, or what you're allowed to do to each other as games. You can start hurting each other, I don't know, not so you die, of course. And it can be games that kind of works with transcendence, kind of totally goes beyond what it is to be a game. What is it to be a game? And then kind of keep on being a game, but stop being a game at the same time. Really strange. This is about your imagination. You are all kind of very good at playing games, thinking in games. So what is on the other side of this? That's kind of the question. It can be games that kind of works with a concept called hybridity. So that's kind of mixing two strange things together, like mixing. You're not allowed to play with the gong up here, but it could be mixing chairs with chess pieces. What is it to have a game that is like a chess chair? I don't know what that is. Might be a good game, might be a really crappy game, probably that. So Newbury is kind of remixing stuff together. There's this design method called bad ideas, where you kind of take you look up in a dictionary and you see horse, jacket, and then you have to create a game that is a horse jacket or a jacket horse. Jacket horse sounds better though. So a game that's called Jacket Horse. What is that? I don't know. If you want to make something that is a bit more uncanny, if you know that concept, a bit disturbing, like it's something that makes you feel really strange. You think it's a very normal Tetris game, but then the way you play Tetris takes you somewhere that is really alien. There's this very nice effect called Verfremdung effect, Bertolt Brecht, a German playwright, and he has this where he breaks down the wall, so it might be that you actually draw in the audience. Like suddenly they are actually the ones playing the game down there playing chess, they just don't know it, but they're actually the one playing the game that we are looking at up here, or something like that. So games that kind of works with this, or what we ask you to do, is again make an impossible game. That's what we ask you to do. It can be a bad idea, and it could be a game that is what games are not. So something that is strange. It can also be about the input controller. So perhaps you have this giant ball you can be inside, and then you play the computer game by, you're probably not allowed to do that either, going down the ramp and you roll around the ball and you hit people in the ball, and that's kind of the computer game. I don't know, there's screens in there. The experience, the game player's experience might be edgy, disturbing, surprising, but this is perhaps a bit important. So the impossible game, or the game that your game that boldly go where no game has gone before, you need to think about how it's not just a gimmick, like how it's not just and how the controller is not just a gadget, or how the theoretical idea is just a fad. It has to be something deeper than that. And that's actually what we'll try to work with. And that's why me and Klaus and Jeanette and Camilla are going to have these talks with you about how to push our thinking and how to push the game and how to push the controller somewhere where we didn't think, like right now where we're sitting now, that it was possible to push it to. So just two kind of concepts I have been working with, and then Klaus will take over. So it could be games that are what we could call dissident work, so dissidents. So dissident work, according to Julia Kristeva, is the will to subversion, the ruthless dismantling of the workings of discourse, thought and existence. So that's kind of political games, or games that make a revolution or make an uprising against something and does something that games are not supposed to do, or make people do something they're not supposed to do, just by making them go there. Another concept could be revolts. I really like the concept of revolt because something revolting can be like revolution, viva la resistance, resistance or whatever. But it can also be something that is revolting, like that makes you wanna puke, like it's really disgusting. And revolting can also make going around in circles. So something that takes a revolte, that's like I grew up on a horse stable. So when you did like dressage, you had the horse going around, that was a revolte as well. So it can mean a lot of different things. But revolting games are games that are kind of curious about what is inside of things. They might want to make them like when you were a child and you picked the wings of a fly or the legs of a spider or whatever you did that wasn't really nice. But you did it to kind of, because you were curious, what is inside an insect? How does it work? I don't know if you did that. I did that. But it can also be curiosity about what is on the other side of things. Like, are we allowed to go here? Are we allowed to do this? You can think about the Pokemon Go game that kind of made people go into cemeteries and walk around in the graves and stuff like that, which wasn't really nice to the dead people, but they really didn't care, I think. And then it can be something that you want to change, like that you want to revolt against something. You can even revolt against us, I think, probably, yeah. But that's really nice, Rikke, with all this crazy philosophy stuff, right? And all this theory, like, what are we supposed to do with this? And hopefully Klaus can help a bit here.
We have, of course, cheated a little. We've actually held some summer schools prior to this, Rikke and I. So I'll present you with some examples of student games. But these games have been made during a period of 4 weeks and you only have 2 days. So we do not expect you to make games like this. We, of course, expect you to make better games than this. Yeah. So one of the first games people tried to make is a game about archaeology. How may we bring the tangibility of archaeology, how may we bring that into digital gaming? Or the topic of topophilia, the idea of being in love with a certain place, how may we convey that in a kind of game? Or a game making people connect through touch outside the screen to play together on screen. So one of the first games I'll try to present you with is Dig into Aarhus, an archaeology game. So the background for the game is that Aarhus archaeology is really interesting. It's vibrant, it's tactile, yet often when we go to museums, we don't get to touch stuff. We are presented with artifacts behind a glass screen. So how may we bring this tactile and interesting aspect of archaeology into a digital game? So they made a 2-player game where you have to work together. You have to get down on your knees and dig through a pile of dirt. Through this digging, you found different artifacts that you had to combine together, excavate Viking finds, and piece them together to co-create unique stories. So when you co-created your story, you got a small artifact 3D printed with a note, handwritten note regarding what you found. So they're actually trying to get down into the nitty-gritty of archaeology and trying to incorporate this idea into a digital game.
And it is a bit strange, right, to be asked to, that's me in the blue dress, digging with a shovel in some sand, and is that playing a game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you couldn't really lose the game, but that's another story, because they're trying to invoke the playfully curious. They have to make people curious as what's in this sandbox and how do you actually play the game. So this is just an idea to think in different aspects or different materials when it comes to making games. Another game is called Stick to Your Secrets. So Stick to Your Secrets is a violent game. We actually found blood on the floor after they played the game.
Actually just here, right?
Yeah, that makes for an excellent game. So play and pain, the starting point is actually the complex and the often paradoxical nature of play, because play isn't just something that is playful and curious and benign and good. It can also be very subversive, in fact. So they fell in love with the idea of dark play. Dark play as a concept is something that subverts order, dissolves frames, and breaks its own rules. It's a kind of play that operates in secrecy. So what they did, they designed a two-player game. As you can see, you had a sword and you had a shield. Hitting the other player awards 1 point if you hit a designated area of that player. If the player blocked with his back or his leg, nobody was awarded a point. But if the player blocked with his shield, the opposing player is awarded a point. So the player with most points after each round won the round. So what did he win? Well, actually, he won the satisfaction of hearing one of the other player's secrets read aloud. So before starting the game, you have to type in 3 secrets that nobody knew about you. So if you lost a round, a machine will read out the secret that you typed in.
In a speaker to the whole of Dokkum, actually here on Rampen.
That's why there was blood on the floor afterwards, because nobody wanted their secret to be read aloud. So people played this game very seriously. So it's about physical pain, or perhaps even emotional pain, or social pain of having your secrets read aloud. Quite an interesting game, actually. So it's about the playfully critical and the playfully creative. We talked about painful play or playful pain in a kind of mishmash together. Quite an interesting game, actually.
So you could say what is on the edge here, right, is that you're not supposed to bleed when you play like a computer game. You're not, well, on the screen perhaps, getting shot by a shotgun or something like that, but not outside the screen. And you're not supposed to be in actual emotional pain, getting your secrets blasted out in Dokkum. And you're not supposed to be in real social pain when somebody, because that often, of course, happened, putting in a fake secret into the system, and then somebody put in a real secret into the system, and then, you know, there's a tension there because we were supposed to put in real secrets, Klaus. Why you can't just, I once ate a gummy bear, and I just said I was gay, you know, come on.
So the idea is that people really took this game seriously because something was at stake playing it. So
what we ask of you is to think about how your game is doing something strange, something new, something on the edge, something on the other side of the curtain of what is possible right now.
So try to think outside the box of what a computer game usually is, something that happens on the screen, and try to incorporate crazy ideas and maybe build a game up around this crazy idea. But we'll just stop talking now, I think, because we have actually people who know a lot more about this, and they'll tell you about how you may go about doing these things. Yeah?
Thank you.
Good of you.